What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Brutal Planet Comics. I'm your host, Dre the Brute Daniels, and welcome to another episode of the Indie Corner, where I sit down and talk to everybody of the indie community, writers, directors, producers, anybody that's in the indie game. I want to talk to you. So today we have a guest that's coming from the other side of the world, all the way from India. He is the writer and author of multiple books. One of them, I'm going to go through a list of them. Raakshasa. I know I'm pronouncing this wrong, but I'm going to go with it anyway. Raakshasa, Judging Dredd, Poetic Plethora, and We Only Come Out at Night. So give it up, everybody, for Pritesh Chakraborty. What is going? Oh yes, indeed. What is going on, my friend? How are you today?
Yeah, I'm feeling great, and it's very nice to talk to you, Dre. And the pronunciation of the first book is Rakshasa.
There it is, Raakshasa.
Okay,
There it is,
Rakshasa. Yeah,
Raakshasa.
that's okay. That's all right.
I knew I was gonna mess
That's
it up.
not a problem.
No matter how
No,
many
not
times
a
I go
problem.
over, I'm just gonna mess it up. So yes,
It's
excellent,
okay.
excellent.
It's all right.
So good. Well, first of all, I'm glad you made the time to. You're coming from the other side of the planet. I'm so glad you made the time to show up for my show. So how we want to start things off. Just tell us who you are, where you're from. Obviously India, but what part and all that stuff. Just let's get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Pritesh Chakraborty, and I am an assistant professor in a college, in a general degree college by occupation. And I am from Kolkata, which is the eastern part of India. And comics wise or author wise, I am in the process of creating comic books. I have a long story or a novella, you can say, by the name of Rakshasa, the Demon, which is published through the Kindle Direct Publishing, and it is also entered into this prize thing that if I get many readers, I might get that prize. And it is this comic book, it is this comic script actually that I have turned into a novel format or a long story format, which I eventually want to turn into a comic book, and not just a comic book or a graphic novel, but a series of comic books or graphic novels. I would like to pitch it to, I don't know, independent publishers or well made publishers who have like made a lot of name for themselves both in India and in US. And I have been to US in 2018-19 as a Fulbright foreign language teaching assistant. I was teaching Hindi at New York University. So I have an experience of the publication scenario over there as well. Besides that, I write a few poems. I have published a few short stories. Many of them are not in the comic book format, but increasingly I have started to work with publishers in India who are interested in my stories, and one of them have won a competition recently. And we are in the process of making that story into a comic book proper.
Wow.
And also I'm in talks with a number of other people, other publishers, including Fiction Comics, Comics India, who are interested to work with me, and we are in a kind of an agreement. We think things are working out gradually. I hope I will be able to bring something out if Dre ever calls me back again for an interview. I can like show them here that okay, I made it, and yeah, that's the little thing about me.
Wow.
So
That's a heck of a rundown. So like I'm aware of the competition that you run. We're going to talk about that in a little bit because I'm really interested on how all that came to be. But the fact that you're moving heaven and earth to get things moving and shaking, I think that's great. I love the fact that you're, as I like to call, burning the candle on both ends, trying to
yeah.
get your vision done correctly. And I'm all about that. Good God, how many times have I tried and failed and got back up again. So it's the grind. It's the grind, and I love the fact that you're branching out on such a wide range, and that is awesome. That is really awesome. That is cool. I like that. So like on that note, I'd like to know about your origins in regards to your writings. And what I mean by that, like, how did you get motivated, or how did you get into the idea of writing novels or writing long stories or series like that? What motivated you? How'd you get started?
Okay, so I was a comics buff right from my early childhood. And one day my mother caught me with a comic book wedged between a book that I was supposed to read. And she really thrashed me because Indian kids get thrashed like anything. Like,
Oh, I've seen it.
People beat us up. That's how they control us. We are so many of. I'm the third child of my parents, and I was really a nasty child.
Oh, boy.
So she beat me up, and while I was crying, she said that, "What are you going to do by reading this shit? Why are you so interested in this? What is this shit? I'll throw it away," and stuff like that. And then on that day, I was like 9 years old, and I made a promise to myself that one day I'll be working on this thing, and I'm going to make a name for myself. And I'll show my mom that, you beat me up then, and you apologize now because I have constructed my life around comics. That was the beginning of everything. I had no idea what I was going to do. But as I graduated from my master's, after I did my master's, there is something called a Master of Philosophy course in Indian universities. And I went for comic books of Batman. I wanted to do research on comic books of Batman. And that led to a lot of discouragements from academicians as usual. They were like, "Oh, there's nothing to do in here. I mean, what are you going to do about it? You are not even mature enough to work on common literature. Don't do this because this is going to take your career down." And I was like, I'm very stubborn by nature, and I said that no, I will work on Batman comic books, period. And I worked on it. I earned my MPhil degree, and then I went for my PhD, working on Batman comics again.
Wow.
So I worked a lot on these comic books. I read a lot of books, and so my entry into comic books, while initially was like everyone else's, because it was the only mode of entertainment in India back in the 1990s, because there were no cable TV and stuff like that, and movies were off limits for kids. So that was the entry point for liking comic books. But then I made literally a career out of comic books, doing my PhD and stuff like that. And then while I was in my college, I was in the habit of writing short stories and poems, because I like to express myself that way, because that is something that I used to express my ideas, my feelings. And then there was this lockdown that happened in 2020, and there was this call for contestants for writing a script for a web series. And this book that I wrote like in 2014, there was this short story, this flash fiction called "The We Came Out Only at Nights," and even that was the name of the book was this, and the story that I wrote was Curfew, and that was the beginning of this journey. And I started to develop it further into a whole novel by attaching a whole mythology to it, which is right now in a very nascent stage. It's just a one part of the entire whole epic mythology that I'm thinking of, gradually building one block at a time. And I created that script, and we all know that a movie script is somewhat like a comic book script, because I kept giving so I kept giving these instructions to the wannabe director or whoever that person was who would be making something out of it, this person rushed in, that person fell down, the arrow came through the air and stuff like that. it did not materialize. I mean, they did not like the script, and I was like out in the second round. But then I was not discouraged, and I always wanted to make this into a book. So initially, what I did was I thought maybe enter into a competition for the KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, and it is published now. And I have started to work with an artist, Manish Mandal, who is working on the script, and we are in the process of thinking about making it into a whole comic book. And well, it might make the audience smirk at my ambition or at my naivety, but I think that the comic book or the novel that I am preparing is can be compared with any one of the best, or any good stories, plots of produced in Netflix. And
If that's not the
so I
truth.
was thinking, yeah, I was thinking that why not try it? Like, okay, I'm no good, but I will try, and I'll make the thing to that level that it is accepted as a plot, it is accepted as a story by some web series producing platform. It's very ambitious of me, but that's what kept me going. That okay, this can be done. This is something that can be done. And comic books. I felt that this is the material out of which a graphic novel series can be created. This could
Absolutely.
be similar to, yeah, this could be similar to a comic book character like, I don't know if it exists in like Conan the Barbarian,
Okay.
or any mythology based character who has a long run. So I wanted to do this, and I still want to do this, but things are working out in a way that I think I would be able to come up with something soon.
That's excellent. And I'm thrilled with all the progress that you've made and all the, you know, the stuff that you've gone through in order to try to achieve your goals. And it's really easy to be discouraged. Really easy to be discouraged, especially when like people that's close to you don't support you, or people that you look up to don't support you and stuff like that. But to see that you're, despite the challenges that's put in front of you, you're able to grind and push through. And there's something I picked up on that you said, about the idea that some people might look at your script and think of the naivety of it all. You don't have to worry about thinking or feeling naive when it comes to these scripts. I'm telling you, I have seen some of the worst garbage in history written. I've seen trash, full blown first ballot Hall of Fame trash, make it onto Netflix and Amazon and whoever, Hulu, whatever. If you can put together something that's competent, something that's interesting, and something that you really enjoy, like you said before, do it. Do it. You've got nothing to lose. Like, especially here in the States. I'm speaking from the States side. You've got nothing to lose. I'm telling you. Because the stuff that's being produced now, it gets gross, man. It gets gross.
Yeah, yeah,
So if
yeah.
you're coming up with,
Some of them, yeah.
I have sat through some trash because not too long ago, one of my comic series that I finished, well, I'm not fully finished producing it, but it's a 8-issue run, and right now I've produced 5, and I decided to, hey, like you said before, comic scripts can easily translate to movie scripts. So I went and made it my business and wrote it as a film script, which and even as a writer director, I write my comics like movies. I do stage directions in my production, in my producing of the comics, because to me it's easier for an artist to translate what I'm doing. So I made it my business to go ahead and put it in as a movie script. Well, I wanted to be a TV series, and I had some pretty good feedback, but ultimately they ended up going with somebody else. I don't know who the other person they went with, but I knew that I had something that was golden because I made it pretty darn far before I hit the wall. So do whatever it is that you're doing. Don't think of it as being naive or anything. You can pull it off because it's it's gross out here. So if you can put together something that's competent, something that you really enjoy, something you're passionate about, you can definitely pull it off. For sure, Pritesh.
Yeah.
You can pull it off. So don't try to think or belittle yourself in that aspect. You can do it. You got this. Don't, as an old friend of mine used to say, don't think, just go. So, so yeah. But thank you for sharing that aspect. So, I want to talk about a little bit of your the books that you have released so far. Some of the things that you had produced. I'm gonna pull up an image right here. Boy, I'm gonna mess it up again. Raakshasa.
Great.
All right.
Right.
Okay, got it. Poetic Plethora and We Only Come Out at Night. And I'm really interested in your story about Judging Dredd. So, if you can, whichever one you want to start talking about first, it's all good. Whichever one you want to roll with.
Okay, so first I want to go with We Come Out Only at Night,
okay,
and the story inside it called The Curfew, because it was the short flash fiction that actually led to the whole Rakshasa business. Because in this story, I am pitching a character who is a father, who's a single father, and a curfew is going on in a suburban space in India somewhere, and a beast purportedly has created a lot of massacre and created a lot of terror in India in that particular place, and a curfew is on. So this father-son duo, they didn't get to eat anything decent in the last 2 days, and the father is now venturing out. And as luck would have it, this father encounters this huge beast, this terrible beast. And then the father comes back with the parts of the beast and feeds it to his son, and he feeds it too. And then the other morning, the police comes and says that who could have had killed this kind of a beast? So we have in our hands a beast, a terrible creature, which is more terrible than the most terrible thing people had seen. And that is the beginning of the story of Rakshasa. And this person, this protagonist, is the Rakshasa, whom I have named Mo, just Mo.
Okay.
So that everybody can pronounce it.
Yeah, smart man. Smart.
Yeah. So now this story takes a turn into the mythological place where we can find that these Rakshasas, or these demons in Indian mythology, have often been represented as having a dark skin. They are represented as being a little less civilized, little less knowledgeable than the humans or the devas, that is the gods.
Okay.
So now I am presenting them as underdogs who are fighting the gods with whatever they have got, and there is a there is a sense of this underdog versus the oppressor theme going on. And there comes in this warrior called V, again a very simple pronunciation.
I like simple.
Which is actually which is like the last syllable of Devi. Devi means a goddess. So this V is the ultimate, this V is the ultimate weapon against all these Rakshasas, because she's like Superman. She's like Superman with a very simple name, and she's like Wonder Woman, and she is cutting across these Rakshasa lines, and everybody is scared of her until she meets Mo, and there's a fight. V defeats Mo, but as luck would have it, Mo makes a run for it, and he escapes. But later she realized that she is used just as a pawn in a bigger war, in a more serious thing that is going on, where the gods want to annihilate an entire race. They want to commit genocide, which V has not signed up for that, and she breaks ranks, and she is seen as a traitor. And also we find that, and there are a lot of spoilers here though, so we also find that Mo and V gets together and they have a son now, and things get more and more complicated from here onwards. That's the thing that's the connection between the story in We Come Out Only at Night, and the whole long story Rakshasa.
Wow.
And
So more or less, I'll pause you just for a hot second.
yeah.
So basically,
Mhm.
you're kind of making a written connecting universe, more or less. Kind of with
Yeah.
your two stories. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
not I wouldn't call it like sequels, more or less, but more
hmm
of an anthology, as it were, like an anthology,
Yeah, you can say that, an
kind of.
anthology
Yeah.
with similar characters appearing in different circumstances,
Okay.
which are connected with each other, but
Gotcha.
they are not explicitly connected.
Gotcha.
And you really
Perfect.
need to, yeah, read it to understand what's going on. So that's kind of a ploy that I used.
Awesome.
You
Awesome.
can't
Hey,
just read one part and throw it away.
smart writing. I love smart
Yeah.
writing. That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Thanks.
That's brilliant.
And these two books that you mentioned, and I like wrote. There are like stories in these poetic verses, and so the thing is that this story has nothing to do with what I'm doing right now, and this is
Okay.
just like a one-off, an emotional kind of a story, or you can even call it a slice of life story, which has got no connection with Rakshasa stuff.
Okay.
And Judging Dredd is actually a semi-academic book where I am analyzing Dredd as a fascist hero. I'm trying to
Ah.
see if he's a fascist or not, which I have like pointed out that he's not, because there are so many differences between a fascist thing and Judge. So these things are very different from each other. And as you say that I'm burning the candle at both ends, I am also an academician by accident or by choice. But at heart, I am a writer. I want to write, but I have to earn my living. You cannot write and eat
Yes.
as well. So you
You ain't
have to
wrong.
like teach. Yeah, I'm teaching. I am like producing some material that I can use later for my promotion and stuff like that. So Judging Dredd is a kind of a semi-academic article on Judge Dredd. So
Got
this
it.
is what these things are actually.
Wow, that is impressive. That is most impressive. You are a jack. We have a saying over here: a jack of all trades. So you're able to. I'm just looking at your skill set that you got here. You're able to write poetry. You're able to write connecting stories. You're able to write pretty much uh, a fictional biography, more or less, of Judge Dredd. It's you, your power level is over 9,000 up in here. Okay, it's pretty, you got a lot of things going on. Wow, that is insane. Well, I mean, kudos, bro. Kudos. That is
Thank
really
you.
cool.
Thank you.
That is really cool, and
Thank
thank
you.
you for breaking those books down. So, one thing I want to touch on before I go with my next subheading is I want to talk about your victory in the competition in India. So, I'm not familiar with how Indian comic competitions. Obviously, I'm not in India. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with how those go down. So how did you how did it go? Like how did it work out? Like how all did it go down?
Okay, so to begin with, we have Facebook in India as well, and on Facebook we have these various groups where people post threads for competitions like this. And there was this competition organized by a group or a company which has a Facebook page and a group called Comics India, and they wanted story writers to write probable stories for comic books
Got
in
it.
Hindi. And I came about it, I came across it, and I decided to adapt a part of Rakshasa into a Hindi story written especially for a comic book.
Ah,
And the contest organizers, they liked it and they accepted it, and I was like their first choice. And I
wow,
even won a small amount of money for that.
wow,
And they have agreed, and we are in the talks to make it into a comic book. So
wow.
this is
That is
how
really cool.
comics competition occur. And there was this another competition last year where I came second, and it was the same thing. This was fiction comics this time. They have a page in Facebook. They put up an ad that they want to bring together artists and writers for stories and with panels. And I came second because my story was selected, and we are waiting for the comic book to take the final shape, which is in the
Wow.
process of being produced.
Well, you're winning on both ends.
And
Look, flip the coin, heads or tails. You're getting W's. I love it. That's
yeah,
great.
and buoyed by these things, me and three other colleagues of mine, we are putting up another. We want artists and writers to come to us for a anthology that we want to publish, which will be an anthology of short graphic stories, and it is on Sundarbans, the Sundarbans, that the Delta in West Bengal. It's the only and the largest mangrove forest in the world.
Wow.
So it's like small Amazon, you can say, and the stories will be based on that. So this is also how you make these competitions, or you. This is not a competition. This is like a call for chapters. Like you make a story and you publish it in our anthology, and the theme is the Sundarbans. So that is also how things happen in India.
That is pretty cool.
Pretty much the Yeah, pretty much the way things happen in the States, because like in the States also, there are I have not come across any competition yet,
They're
but there
they're
are like
far
call
and in
for
between.
stories.
Yeah, there are
Hmm.
story competitions, but they are very far and in between. Very far and in between. Here in the
Hmm.
States, sometimes it's kind of hard for independent creators to really get their foot in the door when it comes to that type of
Hmm.
industry.
Hmm.
Like the big two, Marvel, DC, and to an extent, Dark Horse, kind of have a
Hmm.
stranglehold on who they want coming in. So sometimes those competitions are far and in between. But I like what India's doing. I think we should really
Yeah.
adopt something like that over here,
Hmm.
because I think
Hmm.
that's really really cool. It really gives independents or folks that it spreads opportunity, and I think that's awesome. And I love the fact that you took full advantage of it and was able to succeed two times. Succeed. So I'm really happy about that, and I hope that all those things get produced, because the moment you get them all produced, I want you back on the show, and I want you telling me all about them. I want you to tell me all the stuff. I want you
Sure.
about how you're making it
Sure.
rain over there. That's what I want. I want to hear. I want to hear about that. That sounds
Yeah.
really cool. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. So last segment I want to talk to you is like current projects that you're currently working on. Now you mentioned that you were working on a comic, but you don't have anything to show just yet. Um, what's cooking with things that you're currently working on?
Okay, so I am working on this character called Guru, which is a short form of the gravitational force. Like in India, we call gravitation as Gurutvakarshan.
Okay, I'm gonna
Both
try to.
ways pronounce
I'm
it
gonna try to say that. Oh,
right.
hold on now. Hold on. Gu-
Okay.
Guru Vatashin.
You're close. You're close.
Ah.
So you can say like this character of mine that I'm trying to develop is called Guru, which is the short form for the difficult Hindi word, which even I find it difficult to pronounce sometimes, which is actually a Sanskrit word. So this Guru has a unique ability, and that unique ability, again, a spoiler, is that he can manipulate gravity. Like unlike Magneto, who can
Okay.
manipulate metal,
Yeah.
or other people who have telekinesis and teleportation, whatever
Gotcha.
should they have. This person has the ability to manipulate and bring into force the entire power of gravity itself. Like he can tap into the gravitational force of the nearest black hole, and you can imagine the kind of power this person can
Wow.
wield. And
Pritesh.
basically, this person
Oh,
is an opportunist.
yeah, Pritesh. Over here, we call that overpowered. Good gravy.
Yeah, overpowered. And this dynamics show how what power can do to you. And he is basically an opportunist who is an accidental hero. He doesn't really want to help anyone other than himself, but he is a kind of a more like a selfish, picaresque kind of character, but he ends up helping and thus creating more troubles
Of course.
for people. So that's the kind of thing that I'm working on right now. Besides the graphic novel that I want to work on, and besides working on this anthology, this story that I have written for this anthology, working with my artist for the anthology. So these things, these three things are like going on in a parallel way. So that's what I am like busy with right now.
Wow. My goodness. I'm impressed. I'm thoroughly impressed with you, Pritesh. Me and you, we gonna get along real well. We gonna get along real well. But first and foremost, thank you for making the time to come up on the show. This has been a whole lot of fun. This has been a lot of fun for me, and especially being on the other side of the planet. You're the first person I interviewed on the other side of the planet, so this is cool. This is dope. So I'm really excited to have you here, and so for everybody that's watching, I'm gonna leave all the links to Pritesh's work. Contact him, ask questions about his work. Obviously, the man is brilliant. And for those that are just getting into writing or just getting into directing or producing, whatever, talk to this man. He has a plethora of knowledge. Check out his work. I'm so impressed with this man. I'm completely impressed with him. Absolutely.
Thank you.
So, Pritesh, before we close, is there anything you'd like to say or anything you'd like to say to the audience?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to, as you pointed out, like if you are starting to write, you will be wrong, like wrong. But don't let the wrong stop you from writing. Always write, like write shit. I have written shit, like loads of shit. And
we all
then
have.
From that shit, something comes out. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's people will discourage you. Even you will discourage yourself that, okay, this is not meant for you. But no, if you have that passion, that if you have a story, everybody has a story. If you have a story, go for it. I mean, who knows? You're the next, Frank Miller. Who knows?
Who knows?
So,
could be.
Yeah, that's for the audience, and especially for the Indian audience. If anybody from India would watch this, I would tell them that in India, it's always difficult to make a living out of writing. But if you try hard, you can like make some money out of it as well, and then you can go full blown into this business. And for you, Dre, thank you so much for letting me speak so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
And thank you for arranging this. And I know this will do a sea of good to many writers, many producers, directors, whoever would watch this little interview. Thank you, Dre. Thank you so much. You're doing a great job.
Oh no, thank you. I can't do what I do without folks like you. So you're fantastic. But anyway, everybody, check out Pritesh's work, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Brutal Planet Comics, and follow your boy on all the social media platforms at TheBrute00. That's all we got for today, and I will catch you all next time. Also, if you want to support my channel, check out SpinWiz.com or download the SpinWiz app and check out my comic series, Trouble. It was written with a lot of love, and it was definitely my favorite comic series to write. I've also written it in English and in Spanish, so whatever floats your boat, I got it for you. Thanks again, and check it out.